Is it on? Is the micro on? Okay, cool. We switch from German to English so that everybody can participate, as well as the guests from YouTube. So everybody who's following us today live in stream, we say a big welcome to you. So number 16. Americans would say sweet 16, but here in Germany, hey, we say thank you. Thank you for GoDaddy, for Andre. And as you noticed, we try to keep the login part as professional as we can, but we still need help. Somebody who's willing to do what I just did. As for the name, check them in because, and I will tell you later, is a big improvement on what we are doing, on how we are acknowledged by Atlassian and partners and around the globe. So, Venture IT, guys, could you raise your hand because there's Alex, there's Mark, you, okay, and the back. So we team up with Venture IT as we just started with our YouTube career. We have a channel, but we don't have the time and the knowledge to provide real good video content. So they will help us to improve the experience on YouTube, to extend our content, the content you love, the stories you want to hear, and the topics you want to know. So stay with us on YouTube. Be surprised what we may or may not roll out in August. And we hope that you will love the content, and everything that's here today is streamable. You can just team up with your team tomorrow. So right after this meetup, you get the latest and greatest from Atlassian and partners so that your team can provide and incorporate whatever you learned today or you may have questions on. So you can reach out to speakers. Hi, Dirk, come in. Don't cross the camera or just say hi to YouTube. And yeah, thank you for that you make it possible. And we even have other partners who make this evening possible. So Bastian, Inger, can you raise your hand? And Diana. So we say a big, big thank you. We'll order the pins on your bill today so that everybody has a good food and a good stomach to listen to other stories. So save the dates. You asked us a while ago that you want to be with us as often as you can, but at the same time you say, we need more time that we can save our calendars. We made this possible in surprise, August. Where's Michael? There's Michael. Can you raise your hand as well? Hi. Say a big thank you to Michael. Say a big thank you to Michael. Because Michael and his boss made it possible within 48 hours. Yes, we can host you in August. Yes, we can provide a great view, a bigger room and space with a view on the Rhine. Climate service, drinks, maybe, I guess. Well, we will see. We've been there. So everybody who's been with us longer than 2 years, we've been there in late October, November. Kumanadu guys will know because it was one of the great talks we had. We will be there and we will improve the program. As you can see, we will team up with other partners. So whoever is using SketchUp or visual prototyping, we try to make Atlassian crossover meetups happen. I will tell you later more about that story. You all know September is coming. So we will, in August, on the latest date, ask you and everybody today, what is your expectation towards Summit? What partners do you want to hear more about? What are the latest topics you have in your company? What team issues, let's say it in that way, do you have? What's the next step you want to do? Ask us, come to our meeting in August, and we will try to ensure that when we are at Summit, so we all, Andre, Heino, and I, will join Summit, and we'll team up with everyone who's willing to participate with us and bring all the knowledge, all the context back to Cologne. October, you see, we announced this event already, but we go even further. Today we announced that on the 7th of November, sorry, where are the LVR guys? There? Yeah, raise your hand, be proud. we will come to them. The biggest room ever we can have in Cologne. So they will present how they live. Maybe you can reduce the tone. It's weird. The biggest room ever. They will present how they celebrate and live the Atlassian culture with their products, with their teams, all their challenges they have. We will make that happen somehow. And yeah, we're asking for speakers who are willing to present at that org. We're reaching out to partners already and make it a big and a great event for 2018. You see, 2019 is already on the board. Yes, the next Atlassian Summit is already announced, and we try to see where we can make another org meeting happen already in 2019. Partnering with Startplots, so this area, we usually get the bigger room, the best view on Cologne. We make that happen. But today and this week, Google is here. So we are not there that we are as big as Google. So we had to make a compromise, and we will provide as many free drinks as we can. So nobody has to be thirsty or sweaty or whatever. But you have a great, great show today. So let me take to the next step, crossover meetups. You're here because you're using, or your company is using Atlassian products, even as a customer, or you're selling, or you're an expert, or you're a developer. Usually, and that comes with the product and with the Atlassian culture, you're doing it not just for yourself and because you're loving the product as it is, you're doing it because you're in software. It's one of the main purposes you're here today. Your company is selling or producing a software thing. That usually has in mind that you're using other tools as well. I'm reaching out to you because I have an issue with SketchUp. SketchUp is a new tool I want to use. Who's not aware of SketchUp yet, you may be familiar with other prototyping tools when it goes visualizing things, ideas, websites. You may know Axure as a prototyping tool. You may know Envision, who has a partnership with Atlassian already. I've been into a meetup here in Cologne, and the culture was great, and was saying, and how do you program that idea? How do you roll it out with your product management team, your stakeholder? How do you ensure software quality? And I'm reaching out to each and everyone who's willing to present. You may have noticed there's a streaming, there's a WordPress blog already, as well as I'm reaching out to Adobe. They've been here in North Rhine-Westphalia, just North Rhine-Westphalia area, just a week before in Düsseldorf. An event I would love to participate. They announced it 2 days before, and I was like, oh, I can't participate. I'm really sorry. And I was reaching out to them saying, hey, by the way, why Düsseldorf? You have major Adobe companies using your product, like Eurowings, which is part of Lufthansa. You have a company like us. We are located in Bonn, which is a smaller company you may be aware of, which belongs to Deutsche Bank. We would love to host in Cologne because we have a user group. I think they love the idea as they just recently bought a smaller e-commerce shop. There might be a thing. So what I'm telling you or asking you, tell us today, who would you like to invite us here to Cologne? So it's an Atlassian expert, a product experience, whatever. As you can see here, and I'm hoping they're following this YouTube stream, she's beautiful. She's the org leader from Atlassian London, big user group in Europe. This is the user group leader from New York. So whenever you're traveling and you see an Atlassian user group in every country you're visiting, you have the possibility to attend. I just logged in you today. So around the globe, just go there, say I want to attend, it's for free, and you can go there any place. If you see an Atlassian user group meeting and a topic you want to have, just reach out to us. We can make it happen that they send over the presentation, make a YouTube live session, so they won't be here in person, but they're willing to participate in our culture. That's the same we offer them around the globe. And that's the user group leader from Michigan. So even in the US, there are multiple solutions and partners. We haven't been here. You may have seen this tweet. Who's using GitHub or was using GitHub or is now in between feelings? So yeah, we will go to Atlassian Summit. It's a big thing. We love that Apple was just telling it today, bringing on Apple products a better Bitbucket experience. So I think your developers will love it or may consider a switch. Just reach out to us. It's a topic we haven't had here at the user group very often. Maybe not just a small bits and pieces. Whenever this is a topic now for you, just reach out to us. And if a small bank in Germany can use Bitbucket, you may have seen a blue big company. That's my new challenge. So I will try to reach out to partners who are willing to present here. How is your Bitbucket experience? What's the advantage of using the product? But you're making this decision. Whenever you feel ready to say, yeah, now Bitbucket is a topic for us, reach out. So Content Hub is a big thing anyway. We launched a new website, so all the content we're providing today will be somehow reachable through this website as well as YouTube. We reached more than 100 subscribers just a couple of weeks before, and thanks to Andre, who was super willing, to speed up things, as well as Heino is always willing to find relevant topics. We make now YouTube happen. So another big thing, you may have kids. Who's kids in this room? In the age between 6 or 16? Okay, don't be shy. There's you may have heard the Coder Dojo. Coder Dojo is a free service volunteering people who will teach kids how to code for free. It's happening here in Cologne very often. So, but they have a big problem. They need volunteering people who are willing to give a percent of their time in order to teach. Like the course is from 1 to from 13 to 17 o'clock, happening on a Sunday, on a Saturday, and kids show up there with their parents. So it's not the part like a volunteer will focus on the topic how to get into coding, how to make the knowledge you already have, or the big thing making relevant for kids, as schools are not providing the amount of knowledge kids need to have a job in the future, so to say. Is this a thing? Do you want the Code Dojo here presenting? Because I asked him, can we reach out to you guys with the Atlassian products? And they said no, because we are in Germany. We are DSVGO compliant, and they have to, in order to get free money or free stuff, to become Verein. I don't know the English expression, but to be financial compliant and stuff. Like, oh, cool. I understand, fully understand that. So what they need, free people somehow providing a room, free space. EA Sports in Cologne is doing that as other companies. So either you give the room or you give your time. They would be happy if you can team up with them. So another thing I think is super relevant for you and teams is Smart Ninja. Has anybody heard of the project? Smart Ninja is now for people like us, people in their 20s, 30s, and I'm not saying it, but you get it, who want to start coding. So they offer trainings for a price, but very affordable, and they're starting here at Startplatz. So there will be an event happening, a free event, where they ask you to come around or send your team. Wouldn't it be nice if your team members can code? So if marketing people understand your code or can read it, or in my case, I'm providing super interesting user experiences, which mostly means I have to code in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But by the end of the day, everybody's asking, "Can I have it to tomorrow?" And I like say, "Oh, yeah, you're just asking for tons of new code." No, not tomorrow. But why does it took you so long? And most of the time I say, have you ever checked our website? Yeah, it's nice. Have you checked the code? The what? Okay, you get the point. So it's a thing I want to team up. It's not part of the Atlassian culture, but you get the point here. It's all based on coding, um, content delivery, but as well as continuous integration. So if your team is willing to get way beyond what they're doing today, they want to get new knowledge, just get around, we provide the sessions. So I had in mind that you may stand up, but it's under this circumstance, please have the feeling you stand up, have a look at the left and the right. Just just focus on the people next to you, because as I said, another big thing is happening. This is the survey report that is generated after each of these meetings. So what is happening today is you get by 10 o'clock in the evening a survey via email. The email address you're signed up here, and I checked you in. And what is happening, what we see in 2018 especially, that whenever is a meeting happening in Cologne, and when I ask you people, please participate in the survey, because that's the thing I can reach out to Atlassian and say, we need more swag, we need more speakers, we want to reach out to partners, we want to make it happen here in Cologne. It's happening in January, that from 107 responses they get from around the globe. So whatever happened in January, and each user group is having the same survey under the same circumstances. Cologne is somehow, and I'm very proud of that to say, uh, um, doing it kind of the right Atlassian way, because you just give the feedback. It's a great experience that you're here. You provide, hey, we're super interested in another topic. And it was happening in January when we had a meeting, where it was happening in April. And you see that we're always in the top 3 cities around the globe. I'm super proud of that, because I'm willing to give a lot of time, as well as Andre and Heino is doing. And it took us a lot of effort to get here, 16 meetings already. And it's the feedback you provide. So that was the idea of you standing up. And I wanted to give you a little bit of applause, and maybe you can join us. Um, yeah, because you're making it happening. And that gives us the attention and support from Atlassian partners. So it makes happen that people from London are getting to us. It makes happen that people from Belgium coming to us. It makes happen from France. So you may have noticed there were a lot of people here you usually won't find at any user group at all. Twice the time Atlassian was here. No, 3 times. 2 times Sven Peters himself, and the sorry, I did forget the name, but the Atlassian guy who's responsible for Jira server version directly from Atlassian. You made it happen, and I'm super proud of that. And I want to say a big thank you and remind you that today at 10 o'clock you get the next survey. Please fill in, be as honest as you want to be, but provide the feedback so we can reach out to Atlassian even more often and get, because lately we have a little reduction of swag. So that makes hopefully a change. We get even more swag for you guys. So it was very short introduction. So whenever you need help from us, reach out. Hopefully next on Stride. Stride is happening somewhere near in the future for user groups. It's available for free already on the market. Sing, it's the platform where we find you, and then give us feedback on all the channels you know. Agenda for today. The next thing is happening with Alexander and Furt. Stefani will present then, and then we switch over to Inger and Bastian. And somewhere in the middle, I will order pizza, and then Florian has a super hotspot DSVGO, GDPR, whatever. The big thing in Europe, and how to make it compliance with Atlassian products. So cool. I hand over to Manager, sorry. It's the heat here, and that I'm German. So, yeah, big welcome for you guys.
Thank you.
And then we'll, hopefully you like the topic because it's Jira and it's testing.
Correct.
Serving great code.
My name is Alexander Post. I'm from Manager, and we do IT, know IT, push IT, and share IT. Today, one second, we present you how test management can be integrated in Jira. That means we're going to present us shortly. We're going to present what test management in general will be or is. Then we present test management for Jira. It's an add-on from Adaptivist for Jira. And we will show you actually on a live system how this add-on will work, how it will look like, and how you can work with it. So let's start with us. So we are founded in 2016. We have 3 locations currently. The main location is here in Cologne. We have another one in Croatia in Split and in Istanbul. We have 3 main pillars. So we do Atlassian solution, as we are a solution partner from Atlassian. That means we do all consulting services around Atlassian. For example, installation, trainings, workshops, tuning, and also installations and configurations. So also we do quality assurance for mobile apps, for example. That's also why we can present this add-on. And we do software development. So we know actually how it's done and how or which problems you are facing. And we try now to explain you how you can solve it with Atlassian, with Jira, and with test management. So, yeah, as I said, we are a solution partner from Atlassian. Currently a gold solution partner, and we are working very hard to be platinum in the next few months. So, as you can see, that's me, Alexander, and now, later on, Furt is presenting the test management from Adaptivist in the live demo. So what is test management about? So test management helps you to coordinate all tasks you have to perform during one quality session. That means it will help you to test or to plan tests. You can control the tests, you can analyze, and you can make drafts how a test will be. Also, it will help you actually to execute the test in a structured way. And afterwards, you get automatic, when you use a system, for example, automatic results about the quality, about the test cases, how many you executed, with which status, which are open. Maybe you can already find which components work well or which will not work so well. You get directly reports, for example, for the management that you can say, okay, this application is nice or it's not nice, or we need to fix first some bugs. And at the end, it will help you also to get an end to your test steps. That means that you have already the plan and you know when you have to finish your test work. So now we are going to the demonstration part. So we will show you actually how it is integrated in Jira, how you use it, and at the end we will also say why test management for Jira is good. Okay, I'm not sure if I can switch here. Nee, zu der Demonstration. Kommst du damit zurecht?
Let's see what happens. Good evening.
Wer ist für Deutsch?
It was announced in German, but Deutsch? Okay. We will try in English. Okay, ich mach's in Deutsch, weil Die ganzen Tests, das sieht ein bisschen.
Soll ich dir helfen?
Wie mache ich den Spaß größer? Vollbild. Ich bin kein Mac-User.
Command plus. Is it readable for you? I think so. Otherwise, you can ask.
Ja, schönen guten Abend. Ich finde es übrigens schön, dass du dir ein schönes Bild ausgesucht hast mit dem Anzug und bei mir das letzte Fahndungsbild. Aber keine Sorge, alle Vorwürfe gegen mich wurden fallen gelassen. Genug von mir. Ich möchte euch das Add-on Testmanagement for Jira vorstellen. Das ist ein Add-on von Adaptavis. Adaptavis ist ein Solution-Partner aus England. Eines der bekanntesten Add-ons von Adaptavis ist ScriptRunner. Ich weiß nicht, ob einige das kennen. Aber jetzt möchten wir euch das Testmanagement Add-on vorstellen von Adaptavis. Das nennt sich Testmanagement for Jira, abgekürzt TM4J. Aus Zeitgründen habe ich das schon mal installiert und für die Projekte freigegeben. Und da der Zeitdruck groß ist, wie immer, gehen wir direkt mal rein und schauen uns an, wie man Testfälle erstellt. Wir haben unterschiedliche Möglichkeiten. Ich habe hier mal so ein paar Bugs und User Stories vorbereitet. Wir haben die Möglichkeit, aus dem User Story oder aus dem Jira Issue direkt einen Testfall zu erstellen, indem ich einfach auf dem Plus klicke und dann kann ich die entsprechenden Felder ausfüllen. Inhalt von den Testfällen komme ich gleich nochmal dazu. Ich wollte euch nur kurz zeigen, von wo aus man überall die Testfälle erstellen kann. Andere Möglichkeit, gerade in der Jira Software, hat man auch die Möglichkeit, aus dem den Scrum-Board selbst den Testfall zu erstellen, indem man einfach das entsprechende Issue auswählt und dann hier unten auf dem Testmanagement-Icon klickt und dann kann man auch von hier die Testfälle erstellen und die entsprechenden Testläufe. In Englisch heißen die Testruns, macht glaube ich ein bisschen mehr Sinn. Kommen wir kurz dann zu dem Add-on an sich. Das ist die Ansicht für die Testfälle für das Projekt Manager-Fahrzeuge Kleinwagen. Ich habe das Add-on für andere Projekte freigeschaltet. Und das sind die Testfälle, die wir bisher erstellt haben für das Projekt Kleinwagen. Wir sehen auch schon, wir haben es gelabelt. Wir können hier, wenn wir einen neuen Testfall erstellen möchten, müssen wir entsprechende Felder ausfüllen. Das sind Pflichtfelder, also jeder Testfall hat einen Namen. Was ist die Aufgabe dieses Testfalls? Eine Vorbedingung ist immer ganz wichtig. Und hier unten haben wir halt Felder, um den entsprechenden Testfall genau detaillieren zu können, um nachträglich Reports zu fahren oder eine bessere Auswertung. Unter weitere Informationen habe ich Custom Fields hinzugefügt. Wie das geht, zeige ich euch gleich auch. Ich fülle mal jetzt nichts aus, weil ich bin nicht so der schnelle Tipper, deshalb überspringen wir die Dinger. In dem Tab Testbeschreibung kann man halt die einzelnen Schritte, um die entsprechenden Anforderungen abtesten zu können, runterschreiben. Man hat auch die Möglichkeit, Parameter hinzuzufügen. Dazu zeige ich euch gleich ein Beispiel, weil hier macht gerade wenig Sinn. Wenn man das getestet hat oder wenn der Testfall durchgelaufen ist, findet man hier die entsprechenden Ergebnisse. Man kann den Testfall auch mehrmals durchlaufen, dann hat man alles schön historisiert aufgelistet. Hier hat man die Möglichkeit, es direkt mit dem entsprechenden Anforderungen zu verlinken oder vielleicht auch mit dem Bug, sodass man direkt die End-to-End-Herleitung hat von Anforderungen bis zum finalen Ergebnis. Man kann sie auch mit einer Confluence-Seite oder Weblinks, wie man das halt auch aus Jira kennt, verlinken. Selbstverständlich Anhänge, Kommentare und hier haben wir nochmal die Änderungshistorie. Da wir hier nichts gemacht haben, ist es auch leer. Ich spreche das auch mal schnell ab, weil die Zeit läuft. Zusätzlich haben wir natürlich auch die Möglichkeit, mehrere Testfälle erstellen zu können. Wir können sie halt auch importieren aus anderen Projekten. Wenn ich ein vergleichbares Projekt habe, kann ich die Testfälle quasi direkt übernehmen. Und ich kann Testfälle importieren aus den angegebenen Quellen. Das ist die Übersicht der Tests. Man kann sie halt auch hier schön Ordner hinzufügen. Das sind jetzt kleine Beispiele, wo wir die ganze Liste an Testfällen für dieses Fahrzeug halt untergeordnet haben. Dann komme ich hier zu dem Tab Pläne. Man kann halt auch Testpläne erstellen und diesen Testplänen ähnlich aufgebaut wie Testfälle, eine Beschreibung, ein Ziel, detailliertere Selektierung, Rückverfolgbarkeit und dann hat man hier auch eine Möglichkeit, mehrere Testläufe dem Testplan zuzuweisen. Angenommen, wir haben jetzt eine neue Version oder es kommt ein neues Modell raus, wir sind ja jetzt bei Kleinfahrzeugen, da kann man halt Testläufe hinzufügen zu dem Testplan. Der eine Testlauf bezieht sich auf den Motor, der andere auf die Sitze, Stühle, Tempomat etc. So kann man, wenn ein neues Modell kommt, alle Testpläne auf unterschiedliche Teams verteilen und sie dann genau ablaufen lassen. Das könnte auch parallel funktionieren. Ja, ähnlich wie bei den Testfällen auch, gibt es natürlich die Möglichkeit, Anhänge hinzuzufügen, Kommentare, Änderungshistorie. Es wird angezeigt. Und hier kommen wir zu den Ausführungen. Hier kann man Testläufe erstellen. Zu einem Testlauf kann man halt mehrere Testfälle hinzufügen. In dem Beispiel, welchen haben wir denn da? Benzinpumpe, ja, haben wir zum Beispiel in diesem Testlauf haben wir 3 Testfälle hinzugefügt. An dem grünen Balken links sehen wir auch schon, dass die schon alle erfolgreich durchgetestet worden sind. Die Zeit läuft auch mit. Ich kann den Test jetzt zum Beispiel neu starten, da brauche ich nur drauf zu drücken. Gehe zu dem ersten Testschritt, lasse ihn durchlaufen und dann kann ich ihn bewerten. Mit erfolgreich, durchgefallen, wird blockiert, weil er wahrscheinlich für diese Version nicht vorhanden ist. Und hier haben wir noch ein paar Punkte, die man auswählen kann, je nach Ergebnis des Testlaufs. Bin ich zu schnell, zu langsam? Passt. Hervorragend. Das Schöne bei dem Add-on, es gibt eine große Anzahl an Berichten. Das heißt, man muss sich gar keinen Kopf drum machen, was für ein Report ich benötige, wie der aussieht. Wenn man die Testläufe durchgeführt hat, kann man eins dieser über 70 Berichte einfach auswählen. Der meiner Meinung nach immer interessanteste und schönste finde ich immer diese Rückverfolgbarkeit-Matrix. Dort ist das Projekt ausgewählt, könnte ich jetzt nochmal näher filtern. Jetzt stell den jetzt mal. Jetzt sehen wir da links zum Beispiel die ganzen Issues aus dem Projekt und rechts oben die Testfälle sind wir mit so einem T versehen. Sehen wir, welche der Testfälle schon durchgelaufen sind und mit was für einem Status. Grün, erfolgreich, grau, wurde gar nicht ausgeführt, rot, klar, spricht für sich. Und da kann man halt sehen, wurde tatsächlich jede dieser Anforderungen oder dieser User Stories auch wirklich abgedeckt. Wurde die tatsächlich nachgetestet. Eine weitere schöne Eigenschaft bei dem Add-on ist, es bietet auch direkt fertige Dashboards an. Ich habe mal jetzt hier ein paar ausgewählt. Für einen Kleinwagen Mittelklasse. Oder wir erstellen direkt erstmal einen. Man sieht dann direkt Sekunde. So. So, alle Gadgets laden. So, ab hier fangen die ganzen Dashboards an oder die Gadgets, für die das Add-on direkt mitliefert. Es ist schon allerhand und man muss sich, wie gesagt, um nichts mehr Gedanken machen. Das ist ja schön an dem Add-on und speziell für Testteam entwickelt, die nicht mit Jira affin sind oder es gibt auch halt Testteams, die sich nicht gerne mit Jira befassen möchten. Die können das Tool verwenden. Es ist so gut wie selbsterklärend. Einen Augenblick. Und ja, man braucht halt keine weiteren Kenntnisse. Warum wir euch das Tool heute vorstellen, ist, weil wir selbst damit arbeiten, sehr gute Erfahrungen gemacht haben. Wir benutzen es intern für unsere eigenen Projekte, unsere Softwareentwicklungsprojekte. Wir testen auch für unsere Kunden, dort verwenden wir das an. Die sind immer ziemlich happy über die fertigen Reports, die sie automatisiert und in Echtzeit bekommen können. Und auch die Kunden, die selbst ein Testteam haben und intern aber selber testen, verwenden das Add-on und sind damit zufrieden. Vor allem die Firmen, kleinere mittelständische Unternehmen, die zuvor mit Excel ihre Testfälle verwaltet haben, sind sehr begeistert und da haben wir bisher immer sehr positive Rückmeldungen dazu bekommen. Hier in den Projekteinstellungen noch ganz kurz hat man, naja, komm, es ist halt freigeschaltet für das Projekt. Man kann sie halt für gewisse Vorgangstypen freischalten und man hat auch die Möglichkeit, Berechtigungen zu setzen, wer was in dem Add-on und in den Testfällen machen darf. Eine Sache möchte ich euch noch schnell zeigen, wenn die Zeit noch da ist. Okay, wir haben ja noch die Möglichkeit, unterschiedliche Tabellenüberschriften anzeigen zu lassen. Momentan habe ich alle die ausgewählt. Wir können natürlich auch filtern. Wenn ich jetzt nach Tür filter, zeigt er mir halt alle an, die nur sollte. Tut er gerade nicht, aber auch egal. Ach so, stimmt, da ist es ja. Kriterien hinzufügen. Und noch schnell zu den Einstellungen. Wir können natürlich unterschiedlich das Add-on unterschiedlich konfigurieren. Wir können hier unterschiedliche Umgebungen geben. Wir können Iterationsschritte geben, Sprint 1, Sprint 2, Sprint 3. Wir können es labeln, alles frei konfigurierbar. Wir können ihm auch unterschiedliche Datensätze geben. Die sind hier ausgewählt. Wenn ich jetzt einen Testfall hätte, wenn ich die Geschwindigkeit testen möchte, brauche ich nur einen Teststep hinzuzufügen und wähle dann die entsprechenden Datensätze aus und der wiederholt die mit den entsprechenden Datensätzen auch aus. Kann ich gleich ein Beispiel zu zeigen. Unterschiedliche Status kann man selber benennen, wie man möchte, mit den entsprechenden Bildern, sowohl für die Testfälle, für die Testpläne, für die Testläufe und halt auch für die Testergebnisse. Und hier, wie bereits erwähnt, sind die benutzerdefinierte Felder, also die Custom Fields, die man für jeden Testcase auch selber definieren kann und für die Testschritte. Ja, bitte? Nochmal die Frage, bitte. Nee, Sie können den Namen von dem Status selber festlegen. Es gibt halt nur.
Status kann jeder erstmal ändern. Das ist keine Condition hinter.
Genau.
Aber man sieht, wer es war.
Mach ein Mikro.
Die Frage, haben wir, hört man das? Nee, ne? Ja, gut. Die Frage war, ob ich standardmäßig quasi noch einen Workflow-Prozess als Approval-Prozess dahinter schalten kann, dass nicht der Tester sich selber approved und sagt, der Testfall ist gut durchgelaufen. Das vermisse ich so ein bisschen.
Die Berechtigung hatten wir gesehen. Die Berechtigung hatten wir gesehen, die kann man im Projekt einstellen, in den Projektsettings einstellen. Dort kann man halt auch sagen, was der Tester selber darf. Der darf zum Beispiel halt nicht das Approval geben. Das macht man halt auf der Projektmanagement-Ebene oder auf der Projektleiter-Ebene. Bei dem Beispiel wollte ich euch jetzt noch gern zeigen, wie das mit den Parametern funktioniert. So, wir haben hier die Testbeschreibung, also die einzelnen Testschritte. Hier sind die Testschritte, beschleunige auf Pipapo, Kilometer die Stunde. Solange du dich nicht auf meinen Schoß setzt. Und oben bei den Parametern habe ich halt unter Kilometer pro Stunde, was ich vorher in den Konfigurationen eingestellt hatte, habe ich dieser Parameter existiert. So, achso, der ist schon drin. Da, neue Reihe. Dort kann ich ihm halt sagen, mit welcher Geschwindigkeit die Tests ablaufen sollen. Im Testablauf wird das dann so aussehen, dass die einzelnen Testschritte jeweils mit den, bin ich schon wieder zu hoch, jeweils mit den entsprechenden Werten, die hier oben sind, durchgeführt werden. Eine, wie ich finde, geniale Funktion ist das Teilen von Schritten. Ich muss nur einmal den richtigen Testfall raussuchen. Sekunde, wir haben ja noch ein bisschen Zeit, ne? Wo habe ich den hingetan? In einem anderen Projekt. Gleich kommen wir der Sache näher. Oh, ich bin mir nicht sicher, aber ist egal. Gucken wir uns den mal an. Doch, das ist genau der richtige. In diesem Testfall habe ich nichts anderes gemacht, als ich habe einen Testfall bzw. die Schritte von einem anderen Testfall aus einem anderen Projekt mit diesem Testfall Im Englischen macht es mehr Sinn geshared, weil im Deutschen heißt es teilen, aber es wird weder halbiert noch geviertelt, sondern es wird halt in dem anderen Projekt mit übernommen. Der große Vorteil hier ist, wenn ich es in der Quelle ändere, die Werte, oder irgendwelche Steps hinzufüge oder wegnehme, wird das mit übertragen für alle anderen Projekte, beziehungsweise andere Testfälle in den anderen Projekten. Das heißt, ich habe immer eine Quelle und muss nur die anpassen. Für die Tester, die es eventuell kennen, wenn man gleichzeitig in mehreren Projekten arbeitet, man hat halt immer einen Testfall, der wird überall gleich sein, und weil es einmal die eine Komponente ist oder ein Modul, welches in unterschiedlichen Produkten verwendet wird, und dort ändert sich mal was, dann ist es immer ein Krampf, die anderen Testfälle nachzuziehen. Hier ist der schöne Vorteil, ich kann es teilen und habe es in allen anderen Projekten mit drin. Zeitlich noch okay? Ja.
Was wir jetzt gerade gesehen haben, ist ja die manuelle Abarbeitung von Testplänen. Wie sieht es aus mit der Automatisierung, um solche Regressionstests durchzuführen?
Also das Add-on selbst hat eine REST-API, die ziemlich ähnlich ist zu der Jira auch anbietet. Das heißt, alle Funktionalitäten, die ihr jetzt gerade gesehen habt, von Testcase erstellen, Testausführung zum Beispiel, starten, das kann alles per REST-API gemacht werden. Und wir haben sehr oft Kunden, die das mit Selenium-Tests machen. Das heißt, wenn ein automatischer Test beispielsweise durchgeführt wird, wird das jeweilige Test in dem Jira-Projekt ausgeführt und direkt das Ergebnis auch publiziert. Das heißt, mit der REST-API könnt ihr eigentlich alle Anwendungen, die ihr irgendwo im Hause habt, integrieren, ohne dass ihr euch zu sehr Kopfschmerzen über eine proprietäre API oder Schnittstelle machen müsst. Es kommt drauf an, also ich meine, wenn jemand eine Software entwickelt, sollte er auch in der Lage sein, eine REST-API anbinden zu können. Wenn nicht, kann er sich aber gerne auch bei uns melden, wir können das. Das Skript könnt ihr, also wir haben Kunden, die das teilweise innerhalb des Testcases selbst reinpasten. Das kommt aber immer drauf an, also das sind dann wirklich, wie heißt das, Test-Driven Development, wenn da wirklich im, sagen wir mal, nur syntaxhafter Code drin ist, dann wandeln die das noch um, aber es gibt auch welche, die einfach nur den Testcase als Hülle nehmen und damit nur den Status synchronisieren, damit sie wissen, okay, das läuft noch oder läuft nicht. Also gerade bei automatisierten Deployments wird oftmals nur der Status von einem Unit-Test oder sogar die Zusammenfassung eines Unit-Tests als Kommentar beispielsweise noch mit aufgenommen. Das kann man halt so halten, wie man will. Weitere Fragen? Wenn keine Fragen sind, dann würden wir noch mal kurz darauf eingehen, warum Testmanagement für Jira. Vielleicht habt ihr auch andere Erfahrungen mit dedizierten Tools oder sogar anderen Add-ons. Bei dedizierten Tools sehen wir oftmals das Problem, dass eine Integration in Jira, was oftmals von den Entwicklern benutzt wird, wenn überhaupt vorhanden ist, nicht wirklich gut funktioniert. Der Vorteil hier wäre also auf der Hand, dass es ein System ist, wo sich Tester und auch der Entwickler oder sogar noch der oder der Produktmanager in einem System arbeiten und man nicht 15 verschiedene Tools haben, die nicht miteinander reden und die vielleicht auch noch einen anderen Informationsstand haben. Des Weiteren im Vergleich zu anderen Add-ons ist die REST-API umsonst. Das heißt, die ist immer dabei, funktioniert. Man braucht also kein zweites Add-on zu kaufen oder über die Datenbank zu gehen. Und ihr habt eine Wegkapselung von den Issues. Wie wir gesehen haben, das Testmanagement ist nicht als Issue in einem Projekt drin, sondern ist ein eigenständiges, so gesehen, Konzept innerhalb von Jira. Das heißt, das ganze UI, was zum Testfall erstellen beispielsweise da ist komplett anders von den Issues oder von den Projekten. Das heißt, ihr braucht die Tester nicht auf Jira beispielsweise zu schulen, sondern nur auf diese View. Aber ihr habt trotzdem noch die Verbindung zu dem Issue. Das hatten wir jetzt leider nicht gezeigt, aber aus einem Testfall kann man relativ einfach auch einen Bug erstellen. Die sind dann miteinander verlinkt. Das heißt, man sieht direkt, zu welchem Bug oder zu welchem Testlauf dieser Bug erstellt worden ist und im Zweifelsfall sogar, wann der behoben worden ist, dadurch, dass ein erfolgreicher Testdurchlauf da ist. Dann ein wichtiger Punkt, oftmals kostentechnisch, dadurch, dass man nur ein Add-on braucht, was bei manchen in Marketplace nicht der Fall ist das ein bisschen günstiger und auch der Preis ist günstiger. Was wir auch sehen, ist, dass eigentlich mit dem Reports, dass man bei anderen Add-ons sowas in der Fülle von Haus aus nicht hat. Wenn man andere Add-ons sich anschaut, die auf Issue-Type basieren, das heißt, wir haben einen Test-Case, der als Issue hinterlegt ist, dann müsste man oft die Reports mit den Standard-Reports von Jira bauen, weil das ja ein Issue ist und nicht als Test-Case. Da fehlen einem oftmals die Informationen, beispielsweise die Traceability. Da kann man sich oftmals was bauen, aber das ist von Haus aus dann nicht dabei. Das sind alles so Vorteile, die für Testmanagement vor Jira sprechen. Und wenn ihr uns nicht glaubt, ich glaube, die Bewertungen im Marketplace sind auch sehr, sehr eindeutig. Ja, das war's von uns. Wenn ihr keine weiteren Fragen habt, sonst könnt ihr später auch nochmal fragen.
Wir sind noch ein paar Stunden hier.
Ja.
Ansonsten gerne googeln oder bingen.
Okay, super, vielen Dank für euren Vortrag. Wir haben noch schon was vorbereitet, was ja ein bisschen wärmer heute ist. Ihr dürft das auch gerne auspacken. Da ist aber was drin. Nein, das nicht. Hallo? Guck mal. Exklusiv, nur für dich. Und für Fuhr. Aber jede Flasche ist ein Unikat. Ne? Da wird was dran sein. Wenn du die Packung noch brauchst, gerne. Sehr gerne. Danke für deinen Vortrag. Super. Stefania, can we have you on oh yeah, she's on the microphone. Ja, jetzt haben wir ein bisschen was über Testkulturen gelernt und wie man das halt machen kann. Ihr werdet wahrscheinlich schon andere Tools nutzen. Ihr werdet vielleicht auch, das habt ihr auch ganz gut erklärt, Probleme entdecken, die weit über eine Excel-Tabelle hinausgehen. Ne? So startet es ja ganz oft. Man hat was mit kleinen Teams aufgebaut, aber irgendwann ist die Skalierbarkeit nicht mehr da. Und deswegen fanden wir es eine ganz gute Idee, weil Adaptivist haben wir noch nicht zum Präsentieren hier hinbekommen. Das ist immer ein bisschen schwierig. Aber auch daran arbeiten wir. Cool. So, we switch Max. You need this one? Cool. No cheese? Okay. We will check that. I have snacks for you as well.
Okay, that's good.
And also, I try to order something vegan. Oh, yeah. Smaller adjustments for our presentation. So, what does the camera team say? Okay. Wunderbar. So the stage is yours. We are super proud that you're, oh, let me help you, that you're here today, all the way from London. And it's a special topic. I think larger companies will know that. We'll see the issue. And so the stage is yours now. You have also a clicker. Who has the clicker now? Alex? The pen? Ah, not yet? So just down and then it's the next one.
Cool.
Cool.
Danke.
Gerne.
So, hi, thanks for having me. Sorry, I don't speak any German. I can say, ich heiße Tanya Chaplin. So, so I'm an EMEA Solutions Engineer at Sonotype. So I work kind of all over Europe. At the moment, I speak English, Spanish, and French, and German is next on my list. So just throwing it out there. So I'm going to be talking about how we are all Equifax, the data behind DevSecOps. You can find me on Twitter as well at DevSecOps. So the clicker works. So Equifax, so what they do, they're a big company that are responsible. Say if you want to get a loan or you're taking out a mortgage, they're the ones who own your credit history. I think the German equivalent is like Schufa. I think that's what it's So it's the American equivalent. So what happened is they got hacked, and they had 150 million people's personal records stolen. So that's addresses, bank names, and it's the kind of thing where, once you've had that taken, it's quite hard to, replace your name, like banking history. So it was, very important stuff. So what happens? On March the 7th, Apache Struts released, they realized they had a problem with one of their components, and then they released the patch the same day for CVE 2017-5638. 2 days later, on March the 9th, Equifax was breached through this Struts 2 vulnerability. So for those of you who don't know, Struts is a framework for the Java ecosystem. So, 2 days later, it wasn't until July the 29th that Equifax realized they'd been breached. So by that point, as I said, 150 million people's personal records were taken. So what happened was, from May to August, that was when the large scale exploit, that's when all the data mining was happening. And then originally it was just who am I? So, you can do a who am I, user 75,000. Who am I? Root. Obviously, once you get root access, you can almost get anything. So actually, if you look at between, March and when they discovered July, Equifax only had 2 days to fix their, to patch their software. And when you're a company that's as big as that, how are you supposed to patch without automation? Before this, I was a Python developer and I have Java experience as well. And the question you never want to hear is, so are we using this version of this component in our software? Because I'd be like, okay, let me just find out. It's not as easy as Control F. All of a sudden, you have to almost reverse engineer all your applications to see, oh yeah, we are using Angular 0.1.2.16. So yeah, not that easy. So they didn't realize till July. Then they had crisis management. So as I said, 150 million personal records gone. CEO, CISO, and CTO all took early retirement. CEO is in front of Congress in the States. They lost 5 billion of their market capitalization. And if it had been under GDPR, they would have lost, I think it was 62.9 million. So obviously quite a big deal. So I don't know if any of you have heard of W. Edward Deming. He's kind of from the 80s, and he worked a lot with America's car manufacturing and also with Toyota as well. And what he said is you cannot inspect quality into a product. So what he's basically saying is you have to build the quality in. You can't, it's a bit like getting a car, crashing it into a wall to see if the brake works. Why don't we just put in good brakes to begin with and, building that quality, shifting left and going upstream. So at Sonatype, we publish the State of Software Supply Chain. So these are some of our findings from last year. So some of you may not know. So what is a software supply chain? It's very similar to our, the traditional supply chain. You have suppliers, warehouse manufacturers, and finished goods, but slightly different. So in the software context, for suppliers, you have open source projects. So this is like Apache, anything in PyPy, NPM, NuGet. And what this is either, companies or even individual developers, they're creating these open source software components, and they're, putting them out there into the public repositories. So what happens is you have your developers, and because everyone uses open source now, what they do is they take these components, from the cloud, and then they store them in their local repositories, such as maybe, Nexus repository, and you kind of you warehouse these, supplies locally. And then the software development teams, it's not a case of, write me a program application, you go from A to Z. Software developers are actually just assembling all of these different open source components and then producing the finished goods, which is software applications. So we've kind of been, tracking this for a while. And what we saw is, if you look at 2011, there are about 150 new projects every day. Sounds like quite a lot. But actually, if you look to now, 2017, it's now nearly 11,000. And that's across JavaScript, Java, Python, NuGet, and across kind of other ecosystems as well. And if you looked at all of the open source projects kind of out there in the world, they're releasing 10,000 new versions a day. So that just shows this kind of this drive and this insatiable kind of demand for this open source components. And then with releases, that varies. So, you have some very agile, 1 a week, 2 a week even, and then some projects haven't been updated in 10 years. So what we see at Sonatype, we own the Maven, public Maven repository, so we can kind of say these stats with a degree of clarity. And what you're going to see is, quite a rise. You see 2016, 52 billion downloads a year. 2017, 87 billion downloads a year. And you can see it's kind of a steady upward curve. So if you look at this, what this really shows is a change in behavior. Because it's not like we've gone from, 1 million Java developers in 2008 to 87 million developers. It's changed. What? Oh, laser pointer. Okay, I'll just point. Okay. So yeah, it's not showing a change in the number of developers. It shows a change in the behavior. So I travel across Europe. I go to different size organizations, different types of organizations, different technology stacks, different languages. And this stands true amongst all of them. 80 to 90% of modern apps consist of open source and assembled components. So what you're finding is that little original code, that's your proprietary. The rest is open source. If you do a lot of JavaScript, the number tends to be in the high 90s. Oops, wrong direction. What you find is not all parts are created equal. So parts, they age like milk, not like wine. So as time goes on, they do go bad, and it's not pretty. So we analyzed 7,500 organizations, and what we found on average is that on average they downloaded 170,000 components each, of which 3,500 were unique. Of this, 11% had known and documented security vulnerabilities. So that means it's in the National Vulnerabilities Database. It has CVE. So the thing is, speaking from a developer perspective, because I used to be one, we don't intentionally download the bad versions. Just are we getting the, IDEs, or do we have the knowledge about what we're using? Because I'd like to think 11% of developers aren't hackers, but I can't say that for sure. But so what we're finding is, in terms of, we had a look at cybersecurity hygiene, and to begin with, it was looking quite good. We had 6.1% down to 5.5. Actually, last year there was a huge spike. It went to 12% of components that were downloaded had a known and documented security vulnerability. So that's 1 in 8. So if we think back to the last slide that was 87 billion, that means nearly 11 billion components downloaded every year have a known vulnerability. And this isn't just Java. This is JavaScript as well. So in America, there was a study covering just, front ends of websites. And they saw with, handlebars, jQuery, and Angular, it remained true throughout. I don't know how many of you do JavaScript, but with jQuery, there are over 72,000 versions of jQuery. So how are you supposed to know, which one you're using? With Struts 2, coming back to Atlassian, I'm not sure if any of you remember this from last March, but there was, Atlassian were affected by the same Struts vulnerability that happened to Equifax. So I don't know if you guys got notifications, whether it was HipChat, Bamboo, or Crowd. Atlassian were very good. They told you, they did the patch, and they said, you might want to change your password. But this is the thing, it's starting to, affect everyone in terms of one little open source component goes bad, and all of a sudden, organizations everywhere are being affected. So looking at some other real world examples. So I don't know if any of you know BOUNCY Castle. So this is a cryptographic library. So what this means is people that are downloading this, they have an interest in internet security. They're interested in cryptography. Unfortunately, in 2007, one of the versions had a CVE CVE attributed to it with a CVSS, so that's Common Vulnerability Scoring System, of 10.0. It goes from 0 to 10, so to achieve a perfect 10 is quite hard. Exploitability, they also got a 10 in exploitability as well. 9 years later, in 2016, of the 23 million downloads total, 11 million had this vulnerability with it. So that's, almost half. So it's similar to what I was saying, I hope that half the developers, especially the ones that want cryptography, aren't intentionally using, a bad version. But it's like, are they getting the information early enough in the software development lifecycle? Another good example is commons collection. So this actually affected a hospital in Hollywood in America. And what happened is they actually got hacked and held to ransom. All of their systems went down to the point where, when people were being transferred to the hospital, they had to then be diverted. So it's now becoming, it's not just applications or programs. It's now almost a matter of life and death. Because if someone was going there for an urgent treatment, the next hospital, could have been a very far away. What's ironic with this component is there's only 35 versions, only 7 are bad. So it's about 20%. Of the 24 million downloads in 2016, 18 million, so over 3/4, were vulnerable. So it just so happens these 7 versions are very, very popular. So what we're finding with all these different components that are going bad and these kind of big scale exploits, IBM did some research, and the time to respond, before you get exploited has drastically decreased. So 45 days in 2006, 15 days in 2015, and now with Equifax, 2 days. So, with 2 days, how can you fix and patch, especially with the big organizations, without automating? You need that information. You need kind of reports. What are we using? What's inside our software? How can we fix it? So this kind of brings us to the Phoenix project, which is almost, the DevOps pipeline. And what they say is emphasize performance of the entire system and never pass a defect downstream. So this is, if you know your system end to end, start at the beginning, have good quality parts there, never push a defect downstream, and then build quality in from the beginning. So, what's best practice? What can you do? One solution, early visibility. So what I have here, this is an IDE, this is Eclipse, and I've got a Java program. What I have along the bottom is information about my software application. So kind of, I wish I knew how to work the pointer, but on this section, I've got a software, all of the different open source components within my application. You can see I've clicked on the first one, struts to core, and I've got all this enriched metadata. So I've got GAB, licensing, I've got information around the security. I've even got this little picture where the triangles are security, so that's bad. You've got versions on the bottom, and then the popularity. Oh, look, because struts was such a huge outbreak, everyone's using the most recent good version. So having this information, coming from a developer perspective, having this into the IDEs is invaluable, because the worst thing you want to have is, okay, so imagine I didn't have this. I'm just coding, I send it on, a month, I move on to a new feature. A month later, I get a thing saying, oh, by the way, your program is vulnerable to cross-site scripting or remote code execution. And I'm like, wait, what program? Oh, what? Okay. And it's just the context switching is so frustrating. So having this, studies have shown it's a lot easier, cheaper, and safer to fix problems in the IDE. If this isn't possible, have a software bill of materials. So have a report with all of the different open source components within your application. As I said earlier, it's going to be about 80 to 90% of your application. So don't you want to know what's in it? Is it safe? How are the licenses? So how can you get this, these software bill of materials with the Atlassian stack? So I'm going to jump into a live demo. Let me see. Okay. Aha. So here I am in Bamboo. So Bamboo is continuous integration. So it's kind of my build tool at the moment. And I have an intentionally vulnerable application called WebGo. So what I'm going to do in terms of how, it's very, very kind of simple to kind of add this report. So if I go configure plan, it's just a task. So this is a Java program. I'm checking out source code. I'm doing a Maven build. And then I'm just doing a IQ scan. So if I run my plan, what I can see, oh, I hope I'm connected to the internet. Oh, good, I am. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of going through building, started building, going to do some tests, tests, and then you can see build success. So great, my software builds successfully. Then I start scanning. So what I'm doing here, and you can see, I'm scanning through all the different open source components. Doesn't matter if you can't read the exact ones, but I'm just going to have to trust me on that one. And then what it's doing is it's going through, getting the hashes of the different components, looking at our data servers and be like, okay, this particular hash is attributed with this component, with this version, what's the license? How old is it? Are there any known and documented security vulnerabilities? How can we fix it? So what will happen when my internet catches up with me is it will go to a report similar to how I showed you to the slide. So you can see here, and I've got, okay, critical, severe, that's, it doesn't look very good. If I go full report and sign in, what I have here is a bill of materials, so I can see this is all open source. I've got 100% components identified. I've got some policy alerts, and similar to my slide, here I have a report of all of the different open source within my application. And I can even click in and say, okay, what does Commons collection? This was the one that affected the Hollywood Hospital. And then I click here and I can say, oh wow, NANA, this is a better version to use. What's really good as well is, okay, fine, we've got a report in this, in this website. How about if we link it to our Jira? So you can see here, I've got my backlog ready. All of a sudden, I've got an issue. So there's a NextIQ policy alert. I click here, got a bit more information. I go view detailed report. It takes me to the exact same reports where I can get all of that information. Because what we want to do is work within existing developer workflows. So, just a couple more slides. What we find is that, oh, I've gone the wrong way. I mean, I'm not, whoops, sorry, technical difficulties. Here I am. So that's how we kind of integrate it, with the Atlassian stack. What we find is when companies, start to manage their software supply chain, start to apply these checks in the IDE, in CI, the difference from when they download components, 5.5% vulnerable, to, the finished goods, it's a reduction of, or an improvement of 69% based on security, licensing, and architecture. Even just between the finished goods, if they did nothing versus if they manage it, that's still 63%, and nobody really wants to be the next Equifax. So the rewards are impressive. One of our American investment customers, they saw a 90% improvement in deploy. So they used to spend 25 days doing one deployment. Now it's 2.5. So I still ask myself, what are they doing for 2.5 days? But that's a different question. Another one of our customers saved 34,000 hours in 90 days. So what happened? What used to happen, or at least kind of where I used to work, I would say, I would like to use a component. I would send it to someone. They would be like, let me research this component. Then they would give it back to me with a yes, no 3 weeks later, which just stifles innovation because I've either found a workaround or I've, almost written the component myself. So that manual process of someone else having to do all this research, can save 34,000 hours in one example. And overall, having these different checks, CI, ID, IDE, licensing, and security, one of our other customers saw 48% increase in application quality. So, 3 takeaways. Have a software bill of material for each application so you know what open source software you are using. Because if it's going to be 80 to 90% of, of what you're using, you may as well know what it is and the kind of risks associated. Number 2, shift left. Empower developers by giving them information into their IDEs. Because I think I said, but IBM said, it is 100 times cheaper to fix in the IDE than to fix out in production. And 3, add checks at every stage to ensure you don't pass defects downstream. So I said about development, looking in Bamboo as well, and then you can, check out in deployment and kind of throughout production as well. So I've been Stefania Chaplin. If you want a copy of my slides or have any other technical questions, that's my email and my Twitter. If you're interested in getting your own report for anything you may be developing, if you have a look at sonatype.com/appscan, if you download a piece of software, what you can do is then it will scan your application. All it will do is take cryptographic hashes of your binary dependencies. So no source code ever leaves your building, but it can be quite interesting to you to see, what's actually kind of inside. Any questions? I'll put it back to here in case anyone wants anything.
So, other questions? We have a micro. Oh yeah. Can you do us the great favor and
Jetzt? Okay. When do you put a switch in Maven to check this?
When do I put a what?
Do you put it now in the EDA? Sometimes you build your software only with Maven.
So we do, in terms of with Java, you can do Maven, Gradle, Ant, Ivy. Different languages build in different ways. So I was a Python developer. You don't really build Python in the same way, but it is still possible to kind of get these reports. So the important thing is to, dependent on the ecosystem, find a way of finding out what's inside your application. But it isn't Maven centric.
As you know, which is vulnerable of the open source. Why do you put a switch in Maven, which tells me that? So the build is broken if I made the switch. You know which.
Yeah. Oh, so then, well, this is interesting because we're actually. Oh, this is on YouTube, so I might get in trouble. Yeah, I was going to say, hypothetically, I may or may not know someone who was recently playing around with Google Chrome extensions. And when they were looking at different repositories, so say Maven, PyPy, NPM, when you're on the component, you can like press a little button and it tells you, are there any CVEs as they're licensing? So it's being hypothetically, I don't want to get in trouble.
Second questions is what do you do with repackaged applications? There are a lot of repackaged jars or vars which put the open source code in another jar.
So there's it depends. There's repackaging and there's transitive dependencies. So transitive dependencies, it's easy to scan because we can kind of thread down them. With package dependencies, so say for example, say like Android, they package it. You do a scan just before packaging. So this is why I was saying in terms of with the kind of shifting left, that's why you want to kind of shift left as much as possible. With stuff like Uber jars, that's a different issue because that obviously will totally change the hash. So that one we're working on.
Because girls are underrated at this user group. We are so glad to have you here, and Inga will present right after you. But female speakers really need to step up more. Yeah. So you can choose. I make a suggestion about the shirt and fancy stuff. Ooh, great! Summer is coming up, guys. Yeah. So yeah, feel free. Be proud to wear it.
Oh, amazing! Thanks.
It's the latest in Atlassian fashion design.
Yeah, I'll rep it at the gym. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Free advertising.
Free advertising for all of us. Great to have you here. Feel invited to come even more often.
I will.
And yeah, great that you're here. Now we switch over to Inga, and feel free to reach out. She will be here the whole night.
Yeah, I will.
We're happy to share contacts with you guys. Wir uns jetzt erstmal Premiere, die wir heute haben. Ich weiß, ihr seid total aufgeregt. Ihr könnt auch gleich loslegen, aber noch 3 Sessions. Die haben auch alle versprochen, ganz kurz zu sein. Nur noch 3 Sessions. Also, Michael, sorry, danke. Und zwar Premiere. Wir haben heute nicht nur Damenbesuch, erneut. Wir haben ja mal ein bisschen wenig Female Speaker. In der Tat, also ich fordere euch so ein bisschen als die nächste Challenge. Wir haben jetzt vorgelegt, Meetings im August, Oktober, November. Und wir haben noch ein bisschen mehr vor. Eure Kolleginnen sind gefordert. Wir wollen die auf der Bühne haben. Und wir sind auch bereit dazu, noch fanzigere Preise rauszurücken. Das Geld dafür haben wir schon. So, die Stage ist jetzt für Inga. und Diana, die heute das erste Mal auf einer User Group Draw.io präsentieren. Der eine oder andere wird es gesehen haben, ne? Visualisierung, also wie erkläre ich meinem anderen Team, wie das Ganze aussehen kann. Hatten wir komischerweise in 3 Jahren noch nicht. Deswegen total stolz. Legt los und the stage is yours. Und dann haben wir noch einen Timer, damit wir auch in allem drin bleiben.
Alles klar, ja,
Viel Spaß.
zu Beginn wäre die große Frage, Deutsch oder Englisch? I think we will start in English. We didn't prepare it, but fortunately our slides are in English. So let's see how far we can get. Yeah, I'm here with Diana and I'm Inga. We are from Wiesbaden, working at Cybert Media, and we are both working in the Draw.io team. It's one of the most popular apps in the marketplace. Yeah, and we will talk a little bit about the visualization of information. Yeah, as you may notice, the importance of visualized information increased a lot in the last few years, and it's increasing more and more. It's getting more and more important. We won't give you a Draw.io demo here. We will just talk about this topic a little bit and show you some examples. If you want to get a demo or more information, then just read out to us later. Yeah, we choose 3 reasons for this questions, and I will yeah, take a look at them now. So the first reason is the majority of us learn visually. It is easier for our brain to adopt information if it's yeah, prepared, visualized. So, for example, if you see a picture or if you see a diagram or something like that, you will adopt the information faster, you will remember the information faster, and yeah, you will get more and more ideas and thoughts to develop these kind of information. The second reason is our visual IQ is increasing faster than a normal IQ. That means if you see a lot of diagrams or pictures over a period of time, it's getting more and more easier for you to adopt complex information and to learn how to use these information gained from diagrams or pictures. It's a lot slower if you read a lot of very complex text, to these kind of information. And the third reason is diagrams and other visualized information easily convey complex information. So imagine a floor plan, for example, or an org chart or a huge business process. It is very complicated, and it needs a lot of time to write these information down in text. And it's way more easy to just share this kind of information with a diagram.
So, talk in English, so I hope I will Oh, okay. Soll ich nochmal anfangen? Okay, jetzt bin ich aus dem Konzept. Egal. Hört man mich? Alles klar. Okay, speaking of diagrams, with Draw.io you're able to create many kinds of diagrams, for example, org charts or mind maps or network diagrams, as well as UML or floor plans Inga mentioned. But speaking of yeah, visualization, information. I'm a designer, so I work at Cyber Media in the marketing team, and a colleague of mine wrote a blog article about why diagrams are important, and she wants to add an infographic as well. So she uses just pen and paper, and then she starts to draw this in or visualize this in Draw.io. And I gave her some tips about that, and afterwards I think about that tips I gave her are rules that I can use for a blog article as well. So I created this one, and I was surprised what you can do with Draw.io. So not only just drawing diagrams, it's also for creating awesome infographics. And
yeah, maybe we can take a look at them.
Oh, okay,
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
you can click at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you work in Confluence, you can share it with others, and others can work or change something as well. So you can add other shapes or draw lines or insert another graphics. I don't know, for example. But we don't want to do a demo, so I will leave soon. Okay, you can see everything. You can see, you can change. So I think this is a graphic, but everything else you can change. So okay, and go. Also we use Draw.io also for our pricing tables because one of our website is it's more in knowledge space. So there we put our whole information about our plugins we sell, and all know those stupid gray tables you can use in Confluence. So we pimped them a bit up in Draw.io. Every that's also text, so you can search in Confluence and you can find this information. It's not just a picture. So yeah, and we create also a Christmas card, an e-card for last Christmas for our blog users, customers.
Did you link it as well?
Yes, I link it as well.
Probably see. I was really impressed.
Everything.
So yeah, this is made within Draw.io. So.
Yeah. And that's just one use case. So I'm a designer. I'm no techie. I only use code for making colors and padding and margin and nothing else. So that's what I'm doing. And yeah. So Inga will.
Yeah, I will continue. Oops. Go back. Quick. Yeah. Yep. So now we have Sama. Yeah. So if you want to use diagrams in your company, how can you support diagramming? So the first thing is, you have to make diagram available for everyone. I think it's very important that everyone in your company has the possibility to use diagrams to spread information, to share these information, and to use the information wherever he or she is. Another thing is that you have one central place for documentation. You can use a various amount of tools. There are a lot of free tools for diagramming on the web, but I think it's very important to have one central place for documentation. So if you use Confluence or Jira within your company to share information or for knowledge management, then I think you should use the diagramming app within these tools. We have a short video for you to demonstrate Draw.io. Let's see if it's work. Oh, yeah.
Introducing Draw.io. Draw.io provides you with graphics and power functionality to suit both beginner and expert users. It provides intuitive ways to customize the interface and add your own content. You can easily import other diagram formats and continue editing them, even on the go. Draw.io provides strong revision handling that synchronizes perfectly with Confluence pages. We've provided ideas to get you started. Your imagination is the limit to what you can create. Draw.io is one of the highest rated plugins in the entire Atlassian ecosystem, rated by you, our users. Try Draw.io today.
Yeah, so I hope you got an idea about Draw.io now. As I mentioned before, we can give you a demo or talk about the tool afterwards as well. Just 3 points. Draw.io is seamlessly integrated into Confluence, so it follows the Confluence permissions. For example, the revision handling. So you won't have any problems if you will use it within quality management processes or stuff like that. Yeah, it's completely collaborative, so different people can edit the diagram. As I said, it follows the Confluence permissions, so everyone who has the permission to edit a Confluence page can also edit the diagram there. And we have the full revision control within Confluence. Yeah, so I hope you get an idea. If you have any questions, then just reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. To get feedback later, so if you have feature requests or anything else, then just let us know. Yeah. Oh, so we are next to the door, so
Get away. Cool. So first of all, the heads. Summer's coming. Each of you with 2. I think you're kind of in love with Confluence. So maybe not the wrong size because they're all men, but 1 for you. Latest in Atlassian fashion design. When you're willing to present here, you get 1 for free, or you can get an upgrade for an extra presentation, including hosting. So if you get the better room, better air condition, more drinks, we have something for you waiting. You're welcome. Thanks for having us. So, 20 Minuten oder weniger und das aus. Schön, hast du deine Uhr. So now we switch over to Bastian and my cable. Und ist das hier so alles richtig mit der Technik? Sehr gut. Ja, genau, deswegen frage ich, ob das so hinhaut. Nach unten drücken, dann geht's weiter. So, another great Confluence story. And I'm off.
Clickbaiting title, it's a bet I lost. And a colleague of mine said, if Real Madrid is going to win the Champions League, then you have to do the first presentation you will do from then on with clickbait title. And I said, no, wait, Liverpool will make it. Here we are. And I like to say, I thought, because it's a talent of mine, not to be not always read everything else that I have to prepare for presentations. I thought I overread that it has to be held in English, but it's him. He didn't tell me. So if the presentation is poor, it's me. It's him. Let's start. I'm Bastian. I'm from Cybert Media, but I'm responsible, like Inga and Diana are responsible for the product team of Draw.io. I am, in a way, responsible for the product team of Snapshot, and I'm, in a way, also the only one. So all the competencies that they can get is here today. As we are in Cologne, I thought we have some kind of sacred talk. And let's talk in German. This is a bit. It was difficult for me because I was thinking about the devil's advocate, and I wasn't getting for the German term. So, advocatus diaboli is the right German term, but let's keep the devil's advocate when it comes to documentation. What is the problem that we have that many people really don't like documenting things? Who likes documenting, by the way? Oh, so many people. Okay, it's more than so here's normally the reaction that you get is it's as I didn't know that it has to be in English. This is the German one, and you all kind of already all can read the German term and then have a look at how poor my English is. Said yeah, sure, but not today. Why always me? Whoa, that's pretty cool. Will be latest the latest shit available for 2 weeks. So and then it's not anymore. And something that we always get to know from our agile teams, it's always communication over documentation. Let's keep the communication first because we have stand-ups, we have reviews, we have retrospectives for that, and we don't need to document so much. Taking all that information, I met some kind of I put all the emotions. I put all the emotions into pictures. And for example, this one is if you go to somebody and asking him for documentation, there's some kind of rabbit in your headlights. He's in fear of being overdriven by a car. And this is me again, nice, but I will do it. Me again, not so nice anymore, but I will do it. I already hate you. And all these, the last 2 pictures is now it took me 5 hours to make this documentation. You said something has changed. Please redo it. But on the other hand, if you have a devil's advocate, of course, we have to have a God's advocate. And God's advocate always says, yes, sure, I will do it during my work time, while I am doing it. And of course, I will do it, but it's not only me who has to do it, it's the owner of the topic that has to be documented that does it. Change happens. It's not a problem. I will do it. And communication and documentation. It's not either one or the other. It's both. So, to be honest, why do I tell you that? You came here, you're still breathing, all of you, I guess. So I don't have to really tell you that documenting makes sense. Don't I? No. The problem, more or less, is everybody needs to document time by time. But not everybody always is doing it. Why? Because nobody likes it. And it takes time. As it takes time and nobody likes to do it, the output is, So you document the things you have to do, but not more. You keep it short, keep it simple. And after sometimes content is outdated, so then it's just lost. So how do we solve this problem, and how do we say God's advocate wins over the devil's advocate? By that time, we need to have a Confluence plugin, of course. And now it's getting to a point where this German documentation just doesn't make sense. I thought it was a cheap and flat and bloody joke, as I'm not from Cologne, I'm from Wiesbaden, but everybody knows this guy. People watching from other towns or other languages, he's in a way, or from England, he's kind of way the Jamie Oliver of the DIY sector. And but here I'm pretty glad that I can do it in English, because I was born free of any talent for dialects, and I can just pronounce the sentence he always did as a guy or from Cologne should do. But he said, I have prepared something. And this is the place where I just like to leave the presentation and just start doing it. And what is Snapshot? snapshot to get into. This is a blank Confluence instance, as you might already know, all know. And snapshot is an add-on for Confluence who is enabling us to document without any hassle in a short period of time and while I am doing my actual daily work. It's not like, yes, I do it beside my daily work, I do it while I am working, which makes it pretty easy to use. And because it is so easy, it was only 5 slides because I don't have to tell you that. So let's start. It's a Confluence add-on. What you're using is a Confluence blueprint that you not get from here, you get from here. Then it's loading. And what you then get is that kind of overview. If you haven't installed, because this is the point where I should tell you it's a Confluence add-on, but you have to install another add-on locally on your computer. If you haven't installed it yet, here are the installers for every version you could use. For Linux, it's available for 3 weeks now for all the techies that are using Linux. Why do we know that need that local installer? We know. Oh, I have to get to the mark again. We need that for being able to document everything that is going on your computer, not only within Confluence. We know that some people don't have the accessibility or they are just not allowed to download content from the internet. Then you can, for example, have your local administrator being able to install it on all clients of the company, or even being able to get the installer within Confluence so everybody can download it. But less talk, more action. We now launch the desktop client. And that's what happens then. What I should do first is getting this out of, so you can see both things running parallel. So this is the local add-on I'm using now. And now we can start capturing. Here are some options that you can use, but you don't need them now. Just start capturing process. And to keep on with Cologne stereotypes, I sat by myself today and I thought, what might be maybe a bit funny, but what documentation or what guide could we take? I thought about a marketing manager at Fortuna Düsseldorf. Do we have any fans of Fortuna Düsseldorf here tonight? Okay, sorry. I'm in Cologne. Sorry for everybody who's out there. I don't mean to be mean, but I'm a marketing director of Fortuna Düsseldorf, and I like to have a documentation, or I just like to check how is my eShop performing. And what we're doing now here, you saw that the app is getting to be minimized, and everything I am doing now, from now on, every click I'm doing is creating a screenshot that I can use later on. So what we're doing first is we're searching for Fortuna Düsseldorf. And we get to the website. As you can see here, number of clicks, 2. And now I'm searching for the shop. Another click. I don't want to have that one because I'm not really a fan of Fortuna Düsseldorf, but I like to have a jersey because I love jerseys. And I'm clicking on that. And what I'm doing, to be honest, I don't know any player of Fortuna Düsseldorf, but what I always like to do, if I buy a jersey, I like to have a name on it. And I like to have, sorry? I like to have a number and I like to have a name on it, because jerseys with just a blank back suck. Look, it's just not nice. But what we're seeing here now, if we're going for the size, we can only take a size and that's it. We can't just take a number or anything else. But now I am the one like to show, sorry? It's like I asked you to say that, because now I'm the one who likes to benchmark the shop of Fortuna Düsseldorf with the shop of FC Cologne. And let's get to the fan articles. So I like to have that one. And all of a sudden I can choose a size, and I can choose, oh, name of a player. And as everybody likes this guy, even people who are not fan of Cologne. So what I'm trying to, I can skip, I can stop doing this here. You all get what I would like to express. We now have created 18 screenshots, and I just click stop. And what happens now is we get back to the local plugin. And every screenshot we created, this is, by the way, something we will fix in the next versions, that it's going to be so small, so it will adapt if you maximize screens. As you can see here, every click I did, every click I take was captured. And what I can do now is, for example, sorry again for Fortuna Düsseldorf, I can blur this one because nobody likes to see it. And for example, I can be here and set a title, why our shop sucks. No numbers and no names. Cologne rules. So if I'm if I'm done here, I can have a lot of more steps. I can highlight things. I can, for example, say I first clicked here and then clicked there, and I clicked here and I clicked there. So if I'm done with all this, I just click publish, and I get to the second screen where I can choose the template. And this is another thing that's pretty neat. You are able to standardize your content. It's not like, yes, I will do this guide, but I will do it like I intend to do it, and nobody will ever care because I take the picture here and the text there. The next one is the picture here, the text there. Nobody really gets the feeling, oh, that's a guide. That's a guide like all the other guides before. For example, if you do, like we do, internal product development, and we have to issue or publish a documentation all 2 weeks when we created a sprint and we have a new product, we know that our customers get the same type, the same kind of documentation every time they do it. So you can have a blueprint here. You can even create your own blueprints if you like to. And this is something very cool here. For example, you can re-edit this again afterwards. But you can say, you can edit everything else except blur. So if you blurred everything, now the Fortuna Düsseldorf logo doesn't need to be blurred, let's be honest. But if you have any sensitive information and that shouldn't be shown to the public, bank data or anything else, you can blur it, and you can be sure that it can't be redone afterwards if somebody edits it. So let's just click publish. And now it's rendering. It's publishing. Now, you are able to, for example, delete some screenshots that you don't need, of course, yes. But it's publishing everything now because I was lazy and not delete the things that you don't need. So it's done. Open in browser. And here's what you got. You got the full documentation. Where did we insert the blur? Oh, I can find it. Where is it? Ah, here. There you go. And if we're here, because I now typed in very less of text, but that's why you don't get any description there. But for example, let's take the last one. Yep, Cologne rules. That's what I inserted. And what is very important now is that you, like I already mentioned, can re-edit it. There's another macro within Confluence that is installed with a snapshot plugin. That, let's go to the site I just blurred out so you can see it. Here. And you can click on the image editor. And now you can re-edit everything else like you did before, but what you can't do is can choose that one and undo blurring. But you can, for example, insert some numbers on their foreheads. but this is going to be mean. So and this in a way is everything you have to do. And as you might already recognize, this is no rocket science. This is pretty easy, and everybody can do it. And the goal that's behind this plugin is that to get everybody to use it, to encourage people to document. And for example, we just had a talk to Robert Panholzer, who is the partner manager for the DACH region. And he said that they have struggled with some companies that he just went to that say, we have a lot of people that went into retirement, and we all of a sudden noticed that the people just didn't pass their knowledge. And now we're here, and we don't know what to do. So always think about, like Einstein already said, you always have to think about the weakest, now that's I don't know the term, but the weakest part in the chain. That's the one you have to go to. And if I have to consider if somebody who's, for example, 65 years old, and I want him to document what he has in mind, then this is an easy way to go for. What have I missed? If you have any questions, you can always ask me. But if you like to evaluate or even buy it, just turn to us. I can give you our contact information. And you will even get a 20% discount if you create a review in the marketplace. So there's some kind of motivation for you. And that's it from my side. Let's go for pizza. If you don't have any questions. A bit, yeah. A wee bit after pizza.
A wee bit. So, first of all, thank you. Are there any questions left, or would we skip right to Florian? Or the pizza? We're just coming any seconds. But first of all, we're in Germany. They said 2030, it's 2045. So, as I think it's fair because Bastian is traveling back with the girls, and they should go as a team. And I think I suggested your size. I have other sizes as well. Is it okay?
This is
bigger.
M. This is medium, by the way.
Can I,
But I don't care.
Medium as well.
Yes, yes. Is this still running?
Yes, this is still running.
Robert, this is the cap I always wanted you to give me. Thank you.
Woohoo! So give a big thank you. A medium. And then we switch over to Florian. And easy, as I said, the medium is here. Whoop. I'm still bad with sizes. Bitteschön. So, in time. Was soll ich nur noch machen? Woohoo! Der Druck ist hoch. Das Essen kommt auszufüllen. Der Florian, ganz spannend, bringt euch, der ein oder andere hat es gesehen, Gott, ich kann das nicht mehr sagen. Ich weiß, ich habe das 4 Wochen lang bei einer Bank. Also, mein Chef ist noch da? Ja. Mein Chef hat einfach weg. Also, wir haben das über viele Wochen bei der Bank auch gehabt, GDPR. Ich kann dieses Wort nicht mehr hören. Es wurde in verschiedensten Sprachen mir übermittelt und ich habe einfach nur die Tickets eröffnet. Und zwar viele Tickets. Eine Menge Tickets. Plattform, eine Webseite, eine mobile Seite, eine App. Und das ganze Thema, das Florian gleich zeigt, wenn er angestöpselt ist. Ich gedacht, das müsste den einen oder anderen Konzernteilnehmer heute ja auch kurz interessieren, wenn er Admin ist oder eben dieses Thema halt in seiner Company sieht, wie das gelebt werden muss und dass es erschreckend war, obwohl das so lange bekannt war, dass die Sensibilität eigentlich nicht da war und dass die ein oder andere Company vor ein riesen Thema stellt, gerade wenn sie eine amerikanische Mutter hat und ich so dachte, ja, guter Punkt. Ich hoffe, das hat irgendwer bei uns geklärt. Und dann kam der Florian um die Ecke und sagt, das ist ja kein Problem, wir haben da schon mal was vorbereitet. Ne? So, und von daher, wie lange brauchst du noch? Ich kann noch eine Viertelstunde oder länger. Sehr gut. Dann machen wir den Timer. Dann, super. Kannst du loslegen. Moment, wir müssen gucken auf die Markierung und alles. Wir lernen ja. Bei jedem Prozess wird es hier noch besser. Läuft. Höher. Das Kamerakind fehlt. Höher. Rüber. Genau. Und immer lächeln. Und ich gehe essen. Besorgen. Viel Spaß.
To be here because I lived in Cologne and I moved back to our headquarters in Dresden. But my girlfriend lives here, so I'm always, moving from Dresden to Cologne now. And I figured last week that I'll be in Cologne this week, and that there's the AUG. And so I asked Cremo if I could have a short presentation about our GDPR, new GDPR add-on. And of course, I'm not just presenting you the add-on, but I'll tell you a little bit more about GDPR and what's all about and what's all the other aspects in Confluence and Jira. Yeah, my presentation is luckily in English too, because we had some webinars and stuff, and so I'll try in English. Yeah, GDPR, how to in Jira and Confluence. Can I just, yeah. At first, a few words about us. I'm from Comunado. Comunado is an enterprise expert of Atlassian, and we have a products department, and they develop a couple of products for Confluence, Jira, and Bitbucket. And we have like 15 apps on the Atlassian marketplace, and with 7,800 active installations, so it's quite a few already. And yeah, we build products for enterprise collaboration and smart enterprise collaboration, and that's our thrive. My colleague Claudia can't be here today. Funny fact is that actually we're going to have the same presentation on Thursday in Hamburg at the AUG. So it was just a lucky incident that they are both at the same time have an interest in that topic. But I think it's an interesting topic, and you all might know it's not like a funny, interesting topic like drawing or documentation. But it's a topic, you know, we all have to care for, and you know, there's a lot of rumors, and all you panic about it. And maybe I can give you a few hints how to cope with those in Confluence and Jira. I myself, I'm a Confluence consultant now, Atlassian consultant for about 5 years at Comunado. And yeah, mostly for Confluence, I do like intranet projects most of the time. So I'm not too much into Jira, and I'll show you the Confluence demo later, but I'll tell you something about Jira as well. We are a Platinum Solutions partner at Atlassian, alongside with a Microsoft partner, and from the, they just switched the name, ISG Provider Lands, Social Business Partner. They switched from the Expertron group to that, and we do a lot of social business stuff and consult our customers. Yeah, what I'm going to tell you, I'll tell something about aspects of GDPR, the German pendant to DSGVO, and give you a sneak peek on Jira and Confluence apps that we just built, and give you a little roadmap what we're planning. Please note, we're not a law firm. We don't do legal consulting or stuff. I just tell you something about the apps, but you have to decide by your own. What is GDPR? Who knows exactly what GDPR is and what's all about? Yes, some? No? Yeah. I think it's in, you know, it's in all the newspapers, and you all heard about it. So I won't get too much into detail, but it's the EU General Data Protection Regulation, and it's just enforced just a couple of days ago, and will replace some older regulation, and it protects the fundamental right and freedom of natural person, and in particular the rights of the protection of personal data. So actually for us as human beings on the planet, it's actually quite good, or not on the planet, in the EU. And it's GDPR is just a pendant to the, in Germany we say DSGVO, Datenschutzgrundverordnung. So what is personal data actually? Personal data is defined in GDPR as information relating to a person who can be identified directly or indirectly, in particular by reference to an identifier such as, for example, a name or identification number or location, date, an online identifier, or more facts about physiological, well, it's difficult, describing the person by himself. My girlfriend, she's actually in law. You know, she studied that, and you know, all those special terms and you know the EU regulations. It's pretty difficult actually what's written there, but in general, it's all our personal data. So where does GDPR apply? So it's in the EU because it's in EU law, and or it's companies, so some companies in the EU area which are offering services in the EU. So if you're a company and not having services, company in the EU but not offering services in the EU, you're not actually concerning about it, but which have customers or services in the EU as well. So we are all actually, yeah, part of it. What are the main topics actually of GDPR? It's on the one hand side, it's information and access to personal data. So the right of information. So a person has the right to know what data is stored from a company. The other part is rectification and erasure, a right to rectification. That means that a person can, for example, can say that their data want to be changed or deleted. The restriction of processing, that means, for example, if you're storing data about your customers or your colleagues, for example, who's doing business trips, and you're storing data for business trips, for example, what hotels they like or something, you can just, or you must just use this data for those case, for this purpose, for example. You cannot use it for anything else. And on the other, another parts are right of data portability. That's actually quite close to the first topic, because data portability means that those data, if a customer or a colleague asks you of this data, you get it in an quite in a digital format like CSV or something, or by email, not just having a phone call with your boss and he's telling you about your data. And automated individual decision making, including profiling. That means, for example, if you want a loan from a bank, they cannot just give you the loan based on those the information having of you and on, I don't know, from your profile, and just having automated process deciding you get a loan or you don't. But there must be a personal decision-making process, personally for you. So, as you might already figured, that's not all. It's not all covered by Confluence and Jira. Like you use it, or we use it, or most of us use it. And some of those cannot be technically. You cannot solve them technically. And some are just organizational or by process, must be or by legal in your company, must be coped with. But other parts are. For example, so if you're responsible for the topic in your company and you're using Confluence or Jira, what do you do usually? You go to the Atlassian marketplace and look for GDPR, and you find a whole bunch of add-ons for Confluence and Jira. That's the Jira apps you can find, for example. And today I'll just tell you some about those. Not all, but most of them. I will cover mostly the first two topics, the information and access of data, personal data, and the rectification and erasure process. First of all, the first topic of information and access personal data. You find some add-ons on the marketplace, for example, the electronic GDPR tools for Jira. What does it do? You get an announcement banner where you have your regulations and inform the customer or your colleagues about that, and they have to click the button and accept the terms. Then there's a permission monitoring where you can see who has permissions to what, and there's a few permissions. There's other add-ons as well, like the, I can't read it on my monitor, but the GDPR compliance assistant for Jira. You can search users by name, by username or email address or any alias. and you find them. You can store the contact details of your data protection officer, because people have to have access to the data protection officer, so you can show them who they are and how they get in contact with them. And there's an audit trail report showing you how to access, showing you who has accessed the portal, for example. So who using your portal, your Jira or Confluence, for example. And there's the cookies and privacy notice for Jira. That covers similar topics. It shows you a pop-up to users when they log in. It stays on, staying on top of the GDPR privacy laws and compliance by getting active consent from the users, so they also accept that. And there's another add-on, GDPR for Service Desk, and adding an imprint and data privacy rules in the footer and on sign up. There's a question. Ah, okay. There's further features now. Oh, great. So there's a lot of add-ons, and they're just coming up, and there will be more add-ons next week maybe, or next month, and with further features. So that's just a snapshot of actually last week or something, and what they do. And the other topic is rectification and erasure. And we actually built an add-on for Jira and Confluence where you can erase user data as bulk erase from all your Confluence Jira instances. And that's actually a pretty important topic, even if you use Confluence Jira as an internal tool, because most cases are with like customers or something and customer data. You won't have too much in your Confluence and Jira, for example, or you won't have them as users because you use internal systems. But erasure of user data, for example, is quite important. For example, if employees leave the company and they want the data to be gone. And there's a Jira app. I will just I'll give you some of the features and show you. Just switch to the administration to show you that. And I'll show it you in detail in the Confluence app. Typical use cases are the employee leaves the company, as I already said, and you want all data to be anonymized. Of course, you don't want the data to be deleted, because if someone creates tickets or something, you can't delete the tickets because you need them anymore. But you can delete the footprint of the user. If you, that means that you change the user to an anonymous user in all kinds of data in Jira. If you have old content, so the company leaves, employee leaves the company is one topic. The other topic is old content. For example, if you have old projects or something, or want to anonymize old projects, then you can do that to if you filter the anonymizer to a Jira project, for example. And or a single project, if you want to, or you can use it, filter it by date, for example. Or you want to anonymize a single project because it's after 3 years, for example, you don't have to keep it anymore, and it's done anyway. So data protection means also just store data you actually need. And on the roadmap is that you can that all user reference of one project can be deleted, and that you can have. At the moment, it's we just came up with the first development, with the first release, and it's in further development. And next part will be schedule execution. That means that at the moment it's just by click. Someone asks you, you go to the administration option and click the button and delete everything from a person or to a space or project. And you can have scheduled execution processes in future. I promised you to switch to the Jira administration, just to give you a quick, there's the Jira, here. Just give you a quick glance how the administration option looks. It's not pretty big, actually. you have an option in the Jira administration. You can select the user, got in GDPR test user. Ah, okay. Sorry. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Just cancel presentation. I got in GDPR dummy user, and so how do you do that actually? You create a new user, you call an anonymous or anonym user, and you map all the all the data, all the tickets or comments and whatever, or in Confluence the pages and so on, and you map them from the current user, from the John Doe user, to the target user, that's the anonymous user, and then you map all from all your leaving employees. You map all the data to the same user, so they're actually anonymized and cannot be. Now I'm missing the English term, but you know what I mean. There's a filter as well that you can say it's JQL. I think you all know what JQL is, and I will just. I think there's still a GD. What's the anonymous? That's the anonymous user. And you can do a test anonymization, for example, and that shows you. Maybe I'm not allowed to do that. I don't know. I didn't test, actually. Didn't try. In Jira yet? Ah, yeah. All right. And here you can see what's all deleted, for example. Creator, reporter, assignee, vote, watches, attachment, creator. There's a whole bunch of different data. And we developed that add-on with different companies because they came to us saying, oh, there's GDPR on the horizon, and we want to cover the topic in Jira and Confluence. Please help us to cope with that, and we developed that with those companies together. So actually, it should also work for you because other companies already cover the topic. Yeah. So that's how it's looking in Jira, and if you click execute, there's another question. If you really want to do that, because you cannot undone it. Most of the data are really mapped from one user to the anonymous user, and other data have to be deleted. For example, likes in Confluence. Or the personal space, for example. I'll just go back to my presentation to see if there's anything. Okay, there's the Confluence app. I'll show you in Confluence in detail how it looks. I got a user. The user is called test user GDPR, and the test user, and I got a showcase space, and the test user got a personal space. Got a personal space with actually just a test page. And there's another space, for example, GDPR use case space, where this user watches the landing page, and he adds a comment. He liked this page, and added a blog post, for example, and you see some data there already. So what I do now is, if that's an employee of you and he leaves the company, for example, you go to the administration option. It's called User Anonymizer. You go there as an admin. And it looks pretty similar to the Jira dialog, of course. You choose the user. You could limit it to a space or something. I won't do that now because I want to delete all of the data because he's leaving the company. And I'll just do a test anonymization to see what data is deleted. And when I execute, I actually have to recreate the search index now because it takes some time to see the real new data. Can take maybe a minute. I will already go to the. What you actually do is that user still exists, of course. You just mapped the references on the pages. What you can do next, or what you had to do next, is delete this user or disable it, of course, him, of course, him or her. And if you go to the showcase dialog next, showcase landing page, you will see that it's mapped to the anonymous user, and that is still a bug. I got the first release yesterday. I already found a bug. That's not released yet. That's the Confluence add-on. The Jira add-on is already in the marketplace. Confluence add-on not yet, but it's coming soon. TM. And you see, for example, the comment that is anonymized. And if you go to the users, I'll reload that. For example, the personal space of the user is gone. It's also gone. You see that as there's the new create personal space dialog. So far, that's our add-on, user anonymizer for Confluence and Jira on the Atlassian marketplace. What's ahead? We will cover the automatic process, for example, and some administrative settings. And yeah, of course, we're always interested in, if you find new use cases that are not covered yet, for example, please tell us, because it's it's actually a big topic, and we hope to cover everything and discuss it with other companies. But sometimes there's something missing. So if you have any questions, or if you find something that's not covered yet, please get in contact with us. Yeah. Also, if you want us to help you with those topics, for example, you can always come to us. We work with large companies like Audi, Lufthansa, and Secunet. Michael Schlüter from Secunet is here as well, for example. Already seen each other. And yeah, thank you. My question is, of course, first, do you have any questions? And on the other hand side, would that help you? Or what do you think? Yeah. You have a question?
During the presentation, I was thinking if there is really a need for an add-on in order to do this, because I was thinking, what if you just edit the username and the full name of that user to something completely random that no one can recognize, and then you don't have the need for re-indexing, for instance, because that's automatic and way faster in this case. And sorry, I have a second question.
Or do you?
Yeah, like, is there? Yeah, the question is,
why
like,
not doing just that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. That's what also some of the customers said when we talked to them, and because they said we just delete the user in the Active Directory or deactivated it or him or something, but there's still the user ID, and all content is still mapped to a particular user, even if its name isn't there, but just the user ID or something. Yeah, like the short, we say Kürzel for the name or something. So you don't have it really anonymize the data, because the data is still to particular users. If you leave the company and I leave the company, and your content is still mapped to user X, not your name, but user X, and my content is still mapped to user Y, then you can still get back to that actually user. So it's got to be anonymized to an anonymous user that is not cannot be, what's the correct term for that? Cannot be found? Yeah, found maybe to that user. Yeah. Attributed to that user.
So how would you map then this ID, which is like, I don't know, a number to
You just
person?
overwrite everything. Yeah. If you have if your ID in your Active Directory is 123 and mine is 567, then we would still be in Confluence and Jira as data, as owner of some or creator of some topics as 123 or 567, even if our name is not there. But someone in the company knows that you are 123 and I'm 456, for example. So that's not anonymized enough for the regulations. Yeah.
And the second question, and maybe, depending on the answer, maybe a suggestion. What about those pieces of text which have the username or your full name, which are not a mention, which cannot be detected through like easy search? Is there a way of, I don't know, I mean, you can have the at mention in Confluence and then find the users where you're mentioned through the CQL, for instance?
For example, at mentions, if you at mention someone on a Confluence page, that's anonymized as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you write his names just somewhere, that cannot be automatically anonymized. You had to, you could search for this. You would do that manually. But maybe we can, I will take that as a feature request or something to cover that. I don't know, actually I'm not really, I didn't talk to the companies. We built that add-on together myself. But I could ask my colleagues what they actually do and what other companies already do. I don't know, to be honest.
It's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. There's a question. Over there.
About tempo time logging, any plans to support this?
I don't know, to be honest. Maybe it's already working. I don't know. It's always in Confluence and Jira. It's, I'm a Confluence consultant. I build like intranets with different add-ons from different companies. Like we use the Droid add-on, for example, a lot for our quality management systems we build with customers. And on the other hand side, Kamala workflows and so on. And it's always an issue if you have a big marketplace with different developers with different add-ons, and that they all work together. It's always an issue. But maybe there's always it's always possible to develop that individual, for example, or get it into an add-on or for your particular use case, for example. Thank you. I'll take the mic and hand it over or back.
What's happening with the history of an issue? Do you know how it does change? So do I see still that someone created it, or do I see anonym does create it?
Yeah, I'll take the mic. Yeah, actually all the historical data is anonymized as well. As I said, actually I didn't check it in Jira yet, but I can show you in Confluence, and I'm pretty sure it's in Jira pretty much the same. Sorry. I'll show you in the Confluence page history. Maybe it's similar. Yeah. In the Confluence page history, it looks then like I got a page history of this page. And as you can see, the page history is also anonymized. Before there was the GDPR test user. Yeah, I didn't show you before, sorry. Yeah, but good point. Actually, I wanted to show you that as well. Thank you. Yeah, any other questions or opinions? Okay, so we have some pizza. Or?
Do not put all the pressure on me. Not today. I have a plan B. I have snacks. We have Pringles. We have sweets. In 10 minutes, he's asked to drive from Cologne Lindenthal, which is not far from here. Should be feasible within 10 minutes. So what I can offer. So first of all, thank you very much for this one.
Thank you.
we also have a T-shirt for you. We assumed that you would be in love with Confluence.
Sure, I always do.
You can also switch to Jira at any time. But we'll provide the T-shirt shortly.
Okay,
because
thank you.
very bad in guessing the insurance years. I just learned today. But that brings me to another great point. Who is here for the first time ever? So many hands. Not so much swag. What? In die Mitte. Yeah, hier in diese Mitte. Okay. First timers, raise your hands. We may. Who's not a professional? So, real customers using the product. First timer. Raise your. I'm small. I need big hands. Okay, 4. That seems feasible. I've at least 4 of them in Confluence or Jira Design. I will make it fair that those 4 people get a T-shirt who brought a coworker today. A female one. Aha! There's a female hand. Yeah, I noticed that. You haven't been here. So you will get another T-shirt. I also have S sizes if you want to switch, Inga and Diana. Because I provided M. What fits? No, I'm not selling T-shirts. Not that often. So we come to us, we make sure you get one. For the rest, I try to get more swag by November because I just tweeted 3 years. We actually started in July 3 years ago with Rachel. Who's here with us for the longest time? Yes. You too, I know. Michael auch. So be surprised in November. I announced, because it's not the birthday month, and I just raised the voice and said, hey, we are here for 3 years now. That's the point. We have a wonderful story with you guys, and we need more swag because everybody wants the latest design. Don't you? Say yes to the camera. Be loud. Yes. Yes. Okay, cool. Then we try to make that happen in November. So don't be disappointed today. We have swag from Inga. Yes. Mints. At least draw your own mints. And draußen warten ganz viele Getränke auf euch. Herr Fahrer, ich habe ihm gesagt, in 10 Minuten musst du hier sein. Die reißen mich sonst. Und solange gibt es halt Snacks. Die sind hier. Zitronen nicht, glaube ich. Die sollte man schnell rausnehmen. So, alles da. Ich sag erstmal vielen, vielen Dank an alle Speaker. Und wenn ihr so ein bisschen merkt, ihr habt dort gelernt. Es fing an mit Jira-Testing. Das kann ich in einem kleinen Team auch schon machen. Wo sind sie? Ich muss mal Gesichter gucken. Da hinten, genau, danke. Der Alex und der Furat haben euch gezeigt, das kann eine Lösung sein, passt vielleicht nicht für jedes Team, aber ist eine super Erfolgsstory, weil so kriegst du kleine Teams erstmal ins konzentrierte, richtige Testen. Und du kannst halt ganz schnell skalieren. Ihr habt dann ferner gelernt von Stefania, dass es total wichtig ist. Sorry, I can switch to English back, so it's way more fun for everyone when I speak English. Stefania just showed you that it's super important to be aware with your team about what products are you using, which kind of code you're having. Are you vulnerable or not? And that can, when I was listening to your presentation while I tried to tweet, I just realized when she had the great slide, you're just saving lives. The amount of time she and the team is saving for other companies, like for you, was tremendous. Have you still the figure with 80 hours? Like, wait, that's my lifetime. I'm with a bank, that's exactly my amount of time on projects. And then we switched over, and you may have noticed that it's super important for all the teams to present your ideas in a more visualized way, because that's way more easier to stakeholders, parts of your teams that are not involved in coding or whatever you're doing, which is super great, but they need, here's a slide. We can go from A to B that easy. Do you want to buy this or not? So the product may not be that super extended and but it helps you to save time, save lives, and make your life as easy as it can be with the tools of Atlassian. And then we switched over. Where is he? Gone? There? No. Pardon? Yeah, pizza. Pizza already. Pizza's over. So then we switched to Bastian because he was asking the right question. Is documentation fun? No. Is it fun to make reuse of all the knowledge your team was creating during the time you were working on that project? Yes, that is. Because holiday season is coming in. And who wants to be called during his holiday? Oh, we have a big issue. How does it work? Can you tell me? Oh, I would just paste on, here's the Confluence page I worked in 1 hour. You have all the information you need, and I enjoyed just my holiday. So that's a great 10 minutes or less. We pitch you that. So, and then the last thing for today, super relevant in Europe and for all the companies had to go through that. The word I will never use today again. You all know, thanks to Florian and the team, they presented you ideas and approaches how to reuse and to make sure that everything is compliant, what you're using, that you can stay with the tools and the approaches you already have. And hopefully in any minutes, the pizza will come. But as I said, snacks are here, get free drinks, get out of here. It's super cold out there. Thanks for your time. And next time, more swag, more fun. And don't forget, by 10, you get a survey. Please answer to that as honest as you can and you want to. And then, yeah, we see what happens there. And subscribe our YouTube channel. We will send it out with the email and provide it on all the channels already. Or it's just easy. On every social media channel we showed you today, which is YouTube, Twitter, and the web, just Atlassian User Group Cologne. It's that easy. Yeah. And thanks for you guys to come here to Cologne while it's super hot. And sorry for, I excuse myself, it was not planned to be in this small room. We booked the other one. But next time, when Google's not here, we make sure we get a great place. Cool. Yeah. Enjoy your time.